Welcome to the online teaching session of Arihant English Medium School for the academic year 2020-21. My dear students, manners and etiquettes are very important in our life. For individual purpose, we have manners and etiquettes. In the same way, we have rules and regulations when we talk about our city, our state, or our nation. Different countries of the world, they have different forms of government. They run their government according to their rules and regulations, and these are very important. Now various countries have various forms of government. Some countries have democratic form of government, presidential form of government, socialist form of government. Okay, different types of governments are there. As we know, in India, the last rulers who ruled over us were Britishers. They had ruled over us for more than 150 years. Hence, we have a lot of influence of them. You can say that is the reason we have democratic form of government in our country, which is influenced by the Britishers. Now, in this democratic form of government, the most important thing, the most important factor is parliamentary form of government. So today we will study about the Indian Parliament. We have studied that the parliament plays an important role in parliamentary system of government. In this chapter we will discuss the Parliament of India. So my dear students, we already know what is the importance of parliament and some various other functions, rules, regulations. We will see that how parliamentary form of government works, and we will discuss the Indian Parliament. The Constitution of India has created the Parliament of India. The legislature at the national level, that is the level of the central government, is called the Parliament. All of us we know our country India works, rules, you can say runs on the Constitution. Constitution is nothing but a book of rules and regulations. So Constitution has only made our Parliament, and you can say the legislature which is at the national level, it is at the level of central government, and that is only known as the Parliament. It consists of president and the two houses of parliament, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Yes, my dear students, Parliament consists of three things: the president and two houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Now see here, though president is an inseparable part of the parliament, he or she cannot participate in the discussions in either of the house of parliament. Yes, though president is an inseparable part of our parliament, we cannot separate, we cannot remove president from our parliament. That is, he is the part of our parliament. Parliament consists of president, you can say president plus Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Though he is an inseparable part, still the president cannot participate in either Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. He cannot participate in the hearings, in the discussions which are going on in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. The two houses of parliament are called Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Now first we will have a discussion and we will try to study, you can say, both the houses of the parliament. First we will study Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha is known as the lower and the first house of parliament of India. Yes, my dear students, it is regarded as a lower and first house of our parliament. Lok Sabha is the house of representatives directly elected by the people. Yes, we have elections at a regular interval of time. You can say after 5 years we have election. Lok Sabha elections we have, then state elections we have, corporation elections we have. So the election which are taken place at the national level, they are also known as general elections. So Lok Sabha has the representatives which are directly elected by the citizens, which are directly elected by the people. We elect one representative and send him to parliament, that is Lok Sabha. So our representative is directly elected and he goes to Lok Sabha. Hence, The Lok Sabha is called the first house. That is the reason, my dear students, the Lok Sabha is known as the first house. The members of Lok Sabha are elected directly by people from the territorial constituency. India, country, is a very big nation, area wise also. So we have different territorial constituencies, various constituencies. On from such constituencies, one representative is there who is contesting the election. So we elect our, you can say, representative who has been contesting the election from our constituency. We elect him and send him to Lok Sabha. The tenure of Lok Sabha is of 5 years. Yes, period. Once the member is elected, you can say he will be there in Lok Sabha for 5 years. These elections are known as general elections. I had already told you, election which take place at national level, which elections of Lok Sabha, they are also known as general elections. However, there are examples when the Lok Sabha was dissolved before the completion of 5 years. Yes, my dear students, its tenure, its period is for 5 years. But we have in history, we have many examples in which the Lok Sabha was dissolved before its term, before its period of 5 years. So such examples also we have. Elections held in such a case are called midterm election. So once the Lok Sabha is dissolved, again election takes place, and such elections are known as midterm elections, which are held before the completion of 5 years. Such elections are known as midterm elections. Lok Sabha is the representative body of the citizens of the country. I had told you, being a citizen of this country, being people of, you can say, in this country, we elect one representative. So that representative goes to Lok Sabha. Hence, Lok Sabha is also known as the representative body of citizen of India, of our country. As per the constitution, there can be a maximum of 552 members in the Lok Sabha. Yes, according to our constitution, total maximum how many you can say members can be there in Lok Sabha? 552 members can be there in Lok Sabha. To ensure equal representation to all sections of the community, some seats are reserved for members belonging to scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Yes, my dear students, you can say there should be equal distribution of seats, means every community should get a fair and equal chance. That's why some seats are reserved for SC and ST category, that is scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. In case there are no representative from the Anglo-Indian community, the president can appoint 2 members from this community to the Lok Sabha. Yes, Anglo-Indian community, you can say their representation is also very important. If no representation is there from that community, then you can say our president appoint 2 members from this same community and send them to Lok Sabha. Now we will see about the second house of our parliament, which is known as Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha is the upper and the second house of parliament. It is only known as Rajya Sabha. Now the members of Rajya Sabha are indirectly elected. Yes, my dear students, the main difference which we can see in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. What we have seen in Lok Sabha, the members of Lok Sabha are directly elected by the people, that is by us. But you can say in Rajya Sabha the case is different. Here the members are not directly elected by the people. On the other hand, they are indirectly elected. Means how they are elected? See here, as the name suggests, Rajya Sabha gives representation to 29 states, and you can say at present we have 28 states. So they give Rajya Sabha. Rajya means states. So they give representation to 28 states and 9 union territories in India. Thus, members of Rajya Sabha work as representatives of the constituted states. Hence, you can say the member of Rajya Sabha, you can say what they are representing? They are representing the constitute of states. Yes. The total membership of Rajya Sabha is 250 members. In Lok Sabha we have seen maximum how many members can be there? 552, and here in Rajya Sabha there will be total member of 250 members. Amongst them, 238 members are elected from the constituent states and union territories. We have seen just now 28 states and 9 union territories. From them, how many members are, you can say, elected? 238. Then what about remaining 12 members? See here, all constituent states do not get equal representation in Rajya Sabha. It is proportionate to the total population of each of the state. Yes, according to the population of our states, the seats are reserved. For example, some state is big in our country, that state will get more members. That state can send more member to Rajya Sabha. A state which is very small, he can send few seats to Rajya Sabha. So according to the territorial constituency, the seats are being decided in our country. See here, it is proportionate to the total population of each of the state. And I told you about 238 members. What about remaining 12? So the remaining 12 members are appointed by the president. Yes, they are not elected, but they are appointed by the president. Yes, on what ground? These members are usually experienced and distinguished personalities from the fields of literature, arts, science, sports, and social work. Yes, my dear students. So, the members which I am talking about, the 12 members which are appointed by the president, they are belonging to different fields, various fields or various categories. For example, they are from, you can say, arts, literature, entertainment, and various fields. Hence, these members are from these fields and they represent from that, you can say, department. Now, they are being appointed by President of India. The members of Rajya Sabha are elected through the system of proportional representation. Yes, the procedure from which the member of Rajya Sabha are elected, it is known as the proportional representation. Rajya Sabha is never dissolved completely, hence it is called a permanent house. Yes, my dear students, another difference between Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. What we have seen in case of Lok Sabha can be dissolved before its term, before the term of 5 years. But it is not in the case of Rajya Sabha, because Rajya Sabha cannot be dissolved, you can say, completely. Hence, it is known as the permanent house of, you can say, parliament. That is, it is known as a permanent house. Why it cannot be dissolved? See here. Because 1/3 members of total membership of Rajya Sabha who have completed their tenure of 6 years retire after every 2 years, and equal number of new members get elected. The tenure of Rajya Sabha is 6 years. And what is the procedure? 1/3 member of Rajya Sabha who complete their 6 years, they become, you can say, they get retirement after every 2 years. Means the election procedure is in such way that 1/3 member get retire after every 2 years. Though they are completing their 6 years, but after every 2 years 1/3 member get retire, and equal number of members are appointed, or can say are elected in their place. So this procedure goes on. That's why Rajya Sabha cannot be dissolved. Okay? Because the limited members of Rajya Sabha retire step by step, Rajya Sabha can function continuously. Any person contesting for the elections of Rajya Sabha must be an Indian citizen and he must have completed 30 years of age. Yes, what is the criteria for becoming a member of Rajya Sabha? First of all, he should be citizen of India and he must have completed 30 years of age. Members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are known as members of parliament. Yes, what members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are known as? They are known as the members of parliament. They are known as the member of parliament, MPs. MPs try to resolve the queries and complaints of their constituencies by raising questions in the parliament. I had told you, these members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha are the members of Lok Sabha are directly elected by the people, means they are the representatives of their own constituencies. After going into the parliament, what do they do? They raise the questions, they raise the demand of the people, whatever demand is there, whatever questions are there of the people, they raise the same in the parliament. They try to solve our questions, our queries. Okay. Government allocates them funds to carry out development activities in their respective constituencies. Yes, after raising the question, after raising our problems, difficulties, what do government do with them? Government give them proper funds to use them for our respective constituencies, and these members use those funds in their respective constituencies for its development work, for its progress work, etc. Okay, my dear students. So in this way we can say these are the two houses of parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Now we will see functions of parliament. What are the different functions of our parliament? After understanding the basics of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, we will now review their function. Yes, up till now what we studied? Basic introduction of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Now we will try to understand their function, means how they work. What is their function? See here, first of all, formulation of laws, means how laws are made in order to achieve welfare of the people and the objectives of the constitution. The parliament has to formulate new laws. Yes, my dear students, we have to achieve welfare of the people. Development, progress should go on in our country, and for that purpose, what should be there? There should be new laws should be made time to time. That is necessary. Also, outdated laws are repealed. Necessary changes are made in some laws. Yes, the laws which are outdated. For example, law made in immediately after independence in 1960, 1970. Now we are in 2020. So some laws becomes outdated. Those laws were made according to those time, but now they had become outdated. So there is a need to remove such outdated laws also. So new laws are made, outdated laws are deleted, and you can say in some laws we can make changes. So this process, how it works, we will see. The process of the formation of laws has been described in the constitution. Yes, this process of making new laws, deleting old laws, and making changes in the laws are according to our constitution. Means constitution has given us, constitution has told that you can do these changes according to this procedure, and we have to follow the same procedure. In accordance to the procedures, the parliament fulfills this primary and important responsibility. So what has been told by, you can say, our constitution, we follow the same and make the changes, necessary changes. Next is control over council of ministers. How there is control over council of ministers? Council of ministers, the ministers which work under the prime minister, they have been given different departments of government. They are known as the council of ministers. Now see here, how parliament have control over council of ministers. The prime minister and the council of ministers are drawn from the parliament, and parliament exercises control over them. Means prime minister and various council of ministers, from where they have been came upon? They have been came upon from parliament only. And who have the control over them? Parliament. Parliament only have the, you can say, power to control them. Okay, there are multiple ways through which this control can be exercised. Yes, different ways are there from which the parliament can have control over prime minister as well as council of ministers. It is the responsibility of the parliament to see that the council of ministers does not disregard the parliament and function under its supervision. Yes, my dear students, whose responsibility it is? It is the responsibility of the parliament to check time to time whether the council of ministers are working properly or no, whether they are maintaining, you can say, the decorum of parliament, whether they are functioning, whether they are fulfilling their responsibilities time to time. All these responsibilities there of parliament to check the ministers. Next is amendments to the constitution, that is making changes to the constitution. The parliament decides whether to make any amendments to the Indian constitution. Yes, as I have told you, Indian constitution also many laws, regulations are there which become outdated. So how to change them? Whether we can change them or no? What changes should be made? That can be decided by the parliament. The constitution amendment bill is considered to be an important bill. Yes, my dear students. It is known as the constitution amendment bill. It is the most important one. The parliament discusses why the amendment is required and decides whether to accept it or not. First of all, need. Why we want to make amendments in the constitution? Is there a need or no? And if there is a need, how we should do it? How much amendment should be done? So each and every regulation is there. The parliament discusses why the amendment is required and decides whether to accept it or not. The constitution mentions various ways of amending the constitution. Yes, my dear students, our constitution mentions various ways, methods through which amendments can be made. Which are these ways? See here. They are as follows. First one, few provisions in the Indian constitutions are amended by simple majority of the parliament. Yes, few provisions are there in our Indian constitutions which can be amended by simple majority, means vote out is there and some majority also vote in that favor, then that amendments can be done only for few provisions. Second, some provisions require special majority. Some provisions are more important than that previous one. It requires more majority. How much? Two-third majority of the parliament. Means two-third member of the parliament, if they vote in favor of that, then only amendment will be done. And third one, few other provisions are amended by special majority plus consent from more than half of the constituted states. And again some other provisions are there which are more important than that. How they are amended? They are amended again with some special majority, and plus what is needed? Consent is needed. That is, you can say it has been seen whether all are agree or no, and half of the constituent states should be agree with that, then only those amendments can be done which are most important. So in this way amendments are done in three ways. Okay, we can say by few provisions are done from simple majority, some provisions are done from special majority, that is two-third majority, and few other provisions are done by more special majority plus consent of the half of constituent states. This is the procedure of amending the constitution. Now, next thing which you are going to see, my dear students, is Speaker of Lok Sabha. Who is known as the Speaker? What are its functions and duties? We will see here. See, in the very first meeting after the elections of Lok Sabha, the members of Lok Sabha elect a Speaker and a Deputy Speaker. Yes, elections over, all the members are, you can say, coming for first time. They are meeting for the first time. First meeting is there. At that time, what do? First of all, they elect one member as speaker from among themselves. One member they can say elect, he becomes a speaker, and they also elect a deputy speaker. Lok Sabha functions under the guidance and control of the speaker. Yes, what is the function? You can say duty of speaker. The whole Lok Sabha works under his guidance and his, you can say, control. Lok Sabha represents the citizens and the speaker represents the Lok Sabha. Yes, very important line, my dear students. Lok Sabha represents whom? The citizens. Means we elect one member and send him to parliament. That is Lok Sabha. So Lok Sabha represents citizens and the speaker represents the Lok Sabha. Means this is the importance of speaker in Lok Sabha. After getting elected as speaker, he or she has to conduct the business of the house in an unbiased manner. Yes, my dear students. Once he or she is elected as a speaker, he should conduct the business, the working, I can say the daily working of the parliament, that is Lok Sabha, in an unbiased manner, in a neutral manner. means speaker. You can now, the speaker doesn't belong to any party. Once he become a speaker, he is not belong to any party. He has to conduct the business of the house, you can say, in an unbiased manner, without, you can say, taking any members, any party's side. He should be neutral in this manner. Lok Sabha members have some rights and privileges as the representatives of the people. Yes, Lok Sabha has some rights and privileges, some functions as a representative of the people. These are taken care by the speaker. Speaker takes care of them, that whether it is followed or no. Apart from this, the speaker has to maintain the decorum and dignity of the house, as well as interpret the rules of daily functioning of the house and work accordingly. Yes, my dear students, I have told you earlier, whether the things are followed properly or no in the house, the decorum of the house, the dignity of the house, you can say, whether every members are following the rules and regulations of the house properly or no, all this check, everything will be checked by the speaker. And daily functioning, how the house, that is Lok Sabha, it is functioning on daily basis, how the work is going on, everything will be checked by him. Now this, we talked about the speaker of Lok Sabha. Now like that, there is chairman of Rajya Sabha. Now we will see about him. The chairman exercises a control over the functioning of Rajya Sabha. Means how speaker maintains law and order in Lok Sabha, in the same way chairman, you can say, maintains the Rajya Sabha. The vice president is the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Yes, my dear students, who is the chairman of Rajya Sabha? The vice president of India. He is the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. The functions of Rajya Sabha chairman also include maintaining the discipline in the house, facilitating discussions, giving members a chance to speak, etc. Yes. So the Vice President of India, he becomes the chairman of Rajya Sabha. He will maintain the dignity of the house. He will, you can say, maintain the discipline. He will give the members, he will allow the members to speak, raise their questions, etc. Whatever daily functioning discussions are there in the house, he will have control over it. Okay, my dear students. Now these were the functions of chairman of Rajya Sabha. Now we are going to look, how does the parliament make laws? Up till now we talked about parliament. We have seen both the houses, introduction of them about Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Now we will try to learn how laws are made exactly, how different laws are made in the parliament. See here, in our country, the parliament is empowered to make laws. Yes, who has given the authority in our country, my dear students, to make laws? Parliament. Parliament can make laws. To formulate them, a certain system has been adopted. Yes, to make them, a proper system is there, procedure is there, and we have to make them according to that procedure only. This system is known as the law making process, and that system is only known as law making process. A rough draft of the law is prepared initially. First of all, what is done? A rough draft is made at the beginning, initial stage, first step is making a rough draft. Okay, this draft or outline is known as draft proposal of the law or bill of the law. And what this rough draft is known as? It is known as the draft proposal or law or bill of the law. There are two types of bills that are primarily introduced in House of the Parliament. Yes, my dear students. Basically, there are how many types of bills? Two types of bills which are introduced in the Parliament. First is money bill, second is ordinary bill. In order to be converted into an act, that is law, the bill undergoes the following process. Yes, before becoming an act, it is a bill, and it has to undergo some process, some steps. After that, it will become an act, that is rule or law. See here now, we will see those steps, those procedure. Very important it is. First of all, first reading. Now what happened in this first reading? The minister of the concerned department, ministry or member of parliament presents the bill and briefly explains its structure while presenting it. This is known as the first reading. Yes, my dear students. Any department, I have told you various, we have council of ministers. One minister is there for one department. For example, railway minister is there, finance minister we have, human and resource department minister is there, education minister is there. So any of the XYZ minister, first of all, what he will do? He will bring about a bill and he will discuss it in the parliament briefly, telling why this bill is needed, why he is bringing that bill, why that bill has to be made into law, what is its need, procedure, etc. And this process is only known as the first reading. After that, now second reading. There are two stages of second reading. Second reading is further subdivided into two stages. In the first stage, the objectives of the proposed bill are discussed and members in the house express their opinions on it. Yes, why that bill is introduced, its objectives, its needs are discussed, and the remaining member of the parliament, they express their opinion that how they are feeling regarding this bill, whether that bill should, we can say some changes should be made on that or no. Discussion takes place. The supporters of the bill give favorable opinion while the opponents discuss the defects and faults in the bill. What happened in the discussion? The members who are supporting it, they support and tell about the bill, all its, you can say, positive points. But the members who are opposing it, they try to find out defects in that, faults. They will tell you the faults, that these and these are the faults in this bill and they should be changed. You can say some change should be made, then that bill will be favorable for it. Like this discussion takes place. After the discussion within the house, as per the requirement, the bill is sent to a committee of the house. Yes, after discussion, where it is sent? To a committee. A committee is there in the house itself. It is sent to that committee. The committee report consisting of instructions and recommendations is sent to the house in order to make the bill flawless. That committee, what does it do? Again, it go through that bill, checks it, sees that some defects are there or no, try to make it flawless so that further there should be no objection. Okay, and further it is sent. Now, the second phase of the second reading begins. We have seen second reading was subdivided into two stages. This was the first stage. Now second stage in second reading. What is it? Second phase of the second reading begins. In this phase, the bill is discussed clause by clause, step by step. Each clause is discussed in this stage. Members can suggest changes. After this, voting is taken in the house. Yes, my dear students. Some members, if they found that the bill is not suitable, so they tell that this and this changes should be made in the bill. This and this, you can say, changes should be made, and then voting takes place in the house. This is the second reading. Here the second reading comes to an end. Now final and third reading. See what happens in third reading now. The bill is discussed briefly again during the third reading. Yes, one more time again discussion takes place in the third reading also. Brief discussion takes place. Voting is taken for approving the bill. Yes, vote out takes place. People, the member who supports that bill, they vote in favor of that. Members who doesn't feel that this bill is suitable, they vote against that. This takes place. If the bill gets an assent by the required majority, means permission, whatever you can say required majority is there, if that much majority, that much voting we get from the parliament, then the bill is considered as passed by the house. Yes, my dear students, if that much majority of the member, if they vote in favor of that bill, then that bill is considered to passed by the house. That bill is passed. Now the bill undergoes the same procedure even in the other house. Now this we talked about Lok Sabha. Now same procedure takes place in Rajya Sabha. Once it is passed from Lok Sabha, where it goes? It goes to Rajya Sabha. Now in Rajya Sabha also it takes place in the same manner. First reading, second reading and third reading. After getting an approval by both the houses, suppose that bill gets approval in Rajya Sabha also. How it got approval in Lok Sabha? It got approval in Rajya Sabha also. Then the bill is further sent for assent by the president. Now both the houses are agreed with that bill. The bill is passed by both the houses. Now Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha. Now it is sent to the president. Now it is sent to president for further assent. If there occurs a difference of opinion between Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha over a specific bill, the future of this bill is decided in a joint meeting of both the houses. Now what happens after that, my dear students? Some bills are there which have problem over both the houses. Lok Sabha agrees, but there are some, you can say, doubts in Rajya Sabha. In such condition, what happened? Over specific bill, in all the bill it doesn't happen like that, but in specific bills, few bills, it happened like that. And what happened? Then the president called for a joint meeting of both the houses, that is Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha. Now after the final assent and signature of the president, the bill is converted into law and the law is made. Finally what happened? Assent and signature of the president. Now when both the houses are agreed, joint meeting is called, both the houses got agreed with that bill, then it is sent to, finally it is sent to president. Once president sign over it, that bill becomes a law. Okay, my dear students, in this way the law is made. So this was the procedure of making, you can say, parliamentary laws. So we have seen up till here, my dear students. Everyone will read the text once again, okay, and ask your doubt in the next session. Thank you very much.